Hello everyone and welcome to the Homestand TV. I'm your host Celine Shamarky alongside my co-host Justin Pooney. Now, before we start talking about some hockey, let's kind of talk about Super Bowl.
Yeah.
How was your Super Bowl?
It was good. We were at the Rec Room in downtown Toronto. We had a good time. What did you think about the halftime show?
Honestly, I love Rihanna. So
Okay, but did you like it better? Was this the best one you saw?
I wouldn't say that was. I liked last year's Super Bowl show, and I'm not a big rap person.
Yeah.
But last year's Super Bowl, like the halftime show, was top notch.
Amazing.
You had all those hip hop artists come out and rap their songs.
I love Rihanna too. She did a great job, but it doesn't top last year.
It can't top last year. Even like J-Lo and Shakira's. It was just there was more of a production. But then again, you have to think Rihanna is pregnant.
Which is even more kudos to her for doing that while being pregnant, right? So
I remember watching the halftime show and I was talking to my friend. I'm like, is she pregnant? Like she has to be pregnant. We're like, oh, maybe it's just like the bump from when she was pregnant. Like she just never lost the weight yet. We're like, no, that's like she's pregnant.
Yeah.
And then it came out she's pregnant. So we're gonna have another baby.
ASAP and Riri baby.
Yeah, another ASAP and Riri baby. Gonna be so cute. But anyways, yes, the Super Bowl was good. Casey won. Kind of wanted the Eagles to win, but that's okay. I digress from that story. Okay, well, let's talk some hockey now, talk some shop. Jakob Chychrun. So, Leafs, that's off the table right now. And we kind of all thought that it was going to happen, but rumors have been swirling. Not the case. But LA, that's where Chychrun can end up. What do you think about that?
It's kind of surprising because last week we were talking about the Maple Leafs, of course, the Oilers, the Bruins, and then now the Kings kind of popped out of nowhere. Of course, LA last year made a surprising playoff push. They took Edmonton to a 7-game series, and they surprised a lot of teams. And I think this year, they're kind of hovering on that playoff bar as well. This is not only going to help them if they do eventually land Chychrun, and I think they're close, but also will weaken the Oilers. Right, so it kind of helps them in both ways. They lessen division opponent and strengthen their defense core. It would be a nice move. Now, Chychrun again is on a good contract, $4.6 million. But as for the Leafs, again, this doesn't mean that. I think Kyle Dubas is kind of open about how they're going to make smaller moves and more depth pieces. So a guy like from the Canucks, maybe Luke Shen, right, or maybe other depth defensemen out there. So we'll see what the Leafs do on that end. But it looks like the biggest name on the trade board is going to go to LA. And the Leafs are going to have to pivot and probably make some small moves because they still need to work on the depth of their defense core, in my personal opinion.
If Luke Shen ends up back in Toronto, it's going to be like a couple years ago.
Full circle moment, yeah.
I remember being like a couple years younger than what I am now, going to the games and watching like Luke Shen. I remember I even met him.
And he's having a good year with the Canucks this year. Luke Shen would definitely be like a very serviceable depth guy, especially also in the playoffs. He can play a heavy game, lay the body out, and he's also, he can move the puck. And I think he can play serviceable minutes and be a guy that can play on your bottom pairing, and you won't be scared that he's out there. So I think, Luke Shen would be a valuable commodity for the Toronto Maple Leafs to look at.
Fair enough answer there. Well, we're coming up close to the trade deadline too. It's only within a couple weeks away. So we might see this finalized within like the coming days
or even hours. You never know, right?
You never know. But another player that ended up moving already, Vladimir Tarasenko. He's in New York. He made his debut on Friday against the Seattle Kraken. And he scored, and the assist was by Panarin.
Yes.
We love to see that. What do you think about this?
Celine,
I think it's an awesome pickup.
When this deal dropped for the Rangers, I was like, wow.
Solid cup contender team now.
I literally think that the Rangers could win the Stanley Cup this year. When you have a guy like Vladimir Tarasenko on the same line as a guy like Artemi Panarin, with Chris Kreider, you have Mika Zibanejad already. You still have a guy like Lafreniere, Capo Caco. You have these young players as well. Then they still have a decent piece on the back end with Adam Fox, and they still have Igor Shesterkin in net. I really like the Rangers team, and having two game breakers like Panarin and Vlad Tarasenko, unbelievable. And also Patrick Kane. His comments about this, he was kind of salty about it. Patrick Kane wanted to be in New York, it seemed like, but the Rangers preferred the Blues offer, and I guess they went with Vladimir Tarasenko, and I think it's going to pay off big time because he also has championship pedigree with his time in St. Louis, and I think this was a slam dunk for the New York Rangers and Chris Drury.
He was also mentioning how this is his first time that he actually got traded within the NHL, and he was saying how it's kind of crazy, but they've been really welcoming for him, and this is an awesome pickup.
Absolutely.
I am so stoked to see how far, because this team's going to go far in the playoffs.
Really good.
Now I'm curious to see how far. They got the depth, they got the offense, they got everything going for them, and even the back end, which is Shesterkin is playing really good hockey too. So it's going to be so crazy to see how this team plays come the playoff time.
It's going to be exciting in New York, especially New York, and I think
New York's the place to be too.
yeah, I
Playing
think
at Madison Square Garden. Could you just imagine that?
it's actually a bucket list thing of mine. I want to go to the MSG and watch the Rangers or the Knicks play because you just hear all these great things about MSG, and I would really love to. I think every sports fan would love to go to MSG to watch a sporting event.
Oh, for sure, totally. And even to play for an original 6 team too.
Yeah.
That I feel like would be a top thing.
But also Panarin and Tarasenko are close too, right? So to play with a really good friend of yours in New York on a contending team, it's a slam dunk for the New York Rangers. Slam dunk pick up.
Slam dunk.
Yes.
Basketball reference we're making.
Okay, well, slap shot.
Slap shot for the New York Rangers here. Now, last player we want to touch on, Erik Karlsson. We all know he's been playing
Renaissance
amazing.
year, career year.
Career year, 73 points.
Yeah.
He leads defenseman in points this year. He's going to be the Norris Trophy winner.
Looks like that right now.
It looks like that completely. But talks have been going on. He might be on the move to Edmonton.
Yeah, well, it looks like, look, we talked about how, it looks like LA's going to get Chychrun. So, again, this is Edmonton's way of, not retaliating, but responding and getting a guy like Erik Karlsson who can run.
Solid.
Look, Darnell Nurse is a good defenseman. Of course, he's overpaid because he's in Edmonton. Tyson Berry's good. They got nice defensemen, but they don't have like a guy like Erik Karlsson who basically is the best offensive defenseman in hockey. Once again, almost like 7-8 years since he was last dominant in Ottawa. He's back.
2016-17 was his last good season.
Exactly. So it's been like 6-7 years, and he's dominating this year. I know it's with San Jose, but if the Oilers are somehow to get Erik Karlsson, depending on the cost, and again, he's probably just going to be a pure rental. I don't see him sticking around, but this would be a major coup for Ken Holland and the Oilers because this power play is already explosive. Another offensive weapon like that. My oh my, they're going to score a whole bunch of goals if they can land Erik Karlsson.
Total offensive defenseman.
Absolutely.
Total.
And he's also playoff experience as well.
Yep. So. No, for sure. And yeah, his contract, $11.5 million. So like the San Jose Sharks are going to have to retain at least like half of that
half of it or something.
In order for Edmonton to afford this. And I was also reading that Barry will probably be the one that gets sent out too. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But I also want to mention, so head coach Holland, so he traded 2 first-round picks and a former first-rounder back in 1999 for the Detroit Red Wings, and they ended up winning the Stanley Cup.
Yes.
Twice. So.
I mean, you got to be aggressive if you want to win, right? Look at this. Look at the New York Rangers, right?
That could be
they're very aggressive, and they're in the position to win now. The Oilers got to be the same way.
Yeah.
The Leafs kind of have to be the same way too. I feel like, but the Leafs, if they want to make a real push, you have to make aggressive moves. You have to kind of, just go for it. Just don't play safe. Just go for it. And I think once you do that, that not only gives your front office confidence, but gives the players so much confidence that, hey, the management team believes in us and we're going to go out and play and get it. And I think that's something that's very important that people forget about.
That's something that Dubas really has to take a look at. And I mean, look, I love Marner. I love Nylander. I love Matthews. I love Tavares. We are solid up front. But
the back end.
Yeah, so I mean,
goaltending
you
too.
You might need to take into account that one of your big guys are gonna have to go. Like one of them is gonna have to go. But that would be like a really big move by Dubas. That's like putting all his rocks in one pile and like
all those eggs in one basket.
All his eggs in one basket. I said the wrong reference here, but it's okay. You understood what I meant. But yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see, regardless when the trade deadline comes and what the moves have been and all of that fun stuff. So hopefully Dubas gets the ball rolling so we can see something happen here. But that's all from us today on the Homestand TV. I'm your host, Celine Tamarki, alongside my co-host, Justin Pooney. We will see you back here on Wednesday. Eggs in the basket.